Hello and welcome to another edition of KJ's Corner. Been a while since I've done this, Leilah, candidly. But
Oh,
if you're listening to this for the first time, it's KJ's Corner. It's my little piece of the internet where I formalize what would be otherwise informal conversations. But enough about me and that show. It's all about the guests here. And with me, I have Leilah Squires. She is a solutions engineer at Salesforce. With me, she's actually a muley specifically, right? Which is awesome.
okay.
And we'll go into what being a muley is and a little bit of that. But before we get into anything and I talk you up a little bit more on how we got here, how are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. It's the start of the new fiscal year for us, so things are a little quiet, waiting for some team meetings and some fun stuff, some fun activities to come up in the next few weeks. So it's been a good,
Yeah.
but good start of February, to be perfectly
Yeah, for sure.
honest.
Well, I mean, we're restructuring a little bit internally, peeking behind the curtain, which will be public news by the time this airs because it'll be in like June.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But just dealing with that in the fiscals, if you've never been involved in a sales cycle before, which we're going to talk a little bit about as well in your career. Whenever the fiscal's over, usually there's sometimes some shift that happens organizationally, and it gives us who are revenue generating a little bit of time to just sit back because
Catch
there
up.
isn't really much to do, right? Like especially in our role as an SE, right? Because we're not clamoring down to get the business as much as the AEs are. So
Yeah.
so cool. So we talked a little about the revenue stuff there. So you are an SE for MuleSoft. For those who are unaware, because I'm pretty sure people know what Salesforce is. What's
Mhm,
MuleSoft and
mhm.
what do we do for Salesforce?
Yeah, so we
To give a frame
are
of reference
the
behind your career, so to speak.
yeah, sure. So for MuleSoft, we handle everything kind of integration and automation when it comes to connecting to different systems and connecting into Salesforce. And we are a Salesforce company, of course, so we can obviously pull and push information or data into
Mhm.
Salesforce, but we also are kind of agnostic, like so we can work
Yep.
with all the different types of systems. So yeah, MuleSoft in a nutshell, I think.
Love it. I can say that too. People who know me and are listening to this know I've been an automation guy forever, but it is nice to hear that, the thought's the same, right? Sometimes we,
Mhm.
get coached on the certain thing, but well, we're not coached. It's an integration tool
It's
and
just
it's
it, yeah.
Salesforce's integration tool. Yeah, like at the most basic level. I love it. So that's what MuleSoft is. You've actually only been an SE for, from what I can
Just a
tell, a
year.
year and 2 months, and we'll go back into the career, the roles you've had, and we'll talk about how you broke into tech here in a second.
Mhm.
But you've been an SE for about a year and change.
Yes.
What do
Yes.
you like about the SE role? Because I think people listening to this probably know what the solution engineer role is now. What do you
Mhm.
like about it here in MuleSoft, and what are some things that you've learned? Because you said one before we were talking, the styles have been different, which I'm sure my
Yeah.
style is different than someone who's polished, so to speak. So I'd
Yeah.
love to just hear your perspective in terms of what you think of the SE role rolling into it and just go from there.
Yeah, so, like, to backtrack a little, this is actually my first SE role in general, so not
Yep.
just with Salesforce, right?
Good clarification.
So, to understand, like, the sales process and what it goes into tech sales, it was a big learning curve when I first started, and to work with all the different SEs and AEs that I've had over the year, I have, like, changed, and shadowed a bunch of folks because I do kinda like to
Yep.
keep things a bit broad, um, and to see how different people are as far as their selling style, like you were saying, like some people are super direct like yourself, and they get down to the brass tacks of it all, and it's just like, is this a viable solution for you, is it not?
Right.
Other folks really do like to paint that kind of holistic picture and kind of the dream big
Storytelling.
aspect, the storytelling and everything. And I'm now starting to really hone my style, and I do think
Okay.
I'm kind of in the mix of both. It's just because I do kind of talk to IT, I do sometimes more talk to business, so you kind of have to navigate that. But the myriad of styles, it's very jarring sometimes and interesting to say the least, without
What
like
is
naming
just
names.
That's fine. You don't have to name names. We're not gonna blow people up on this, but I did wanna I wanna dig into that a little bit, and we'll talk more about the styles because I like how you talked about, like, storytelling versus brass tacks, and I would always
Mhm.
argue we have to understand the brass tacks first before we can tell the story, but there is an important aspect of that, especially the higher you get, the more executive
Oh
you get,
yeah.
they're like, "Hey, what
Oh
can you
yeah.
do for me now?" But in terms of, like, the styles, how would you try to define that? And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit because I know what you mean, but I don't know if I can articulate it. So I'm curious when you say like different styles, like is it more of like a corporate train type thing? Is it like a cultural thing? Like I'm really curious to hear that because I think it will help people understand because I think sometimes the boot camps push you one way, but
Mhm.
you're in the field. So what do people do? Just curious.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, the successful people sell in their with their own personality. They don't like you can get a lot of valuable tools out of like boot camps and things like that and webinars about
Mhm.
how to sell, but those are kind of just like the blanket high level like ways of doing it. In order to what I've seen really successful is once you start honing in the style or the selling aspects, those like different like, oh, show tell show, like all that like jargony stuff, when you can actually fit in your personality to it, that's
Yeah.
when I think like you really find that sweet spot of like your selling style. And I'm getting there still. It's been a year, but I'm still like a deer, a baby deer wobbling
Sure. Yeah.
around for
What's
the most
what's
part.
been holding you back the most? Do you think it's learning the tech? Do you think it's the salesmanship around it? A little bit of both. Because I think what you're going through now is what a lot of people who try to break into the space, which, like I said, was the basis of this podcast. I'd love to hear your
Mhm.
mindset around that. Like, what's is it just time? Because I time is everything. Like, I'm definitely a way better SE than I was when I started, right? So
Oh yeah.
I'm just curious, like, what your mindset and what's the barrier that you're putting on yourself in a good reason is more what I'm asking.
Yeah, I would say it's time and
Okay.
also not putting so much pressure on myself that I'm not at a certain point.
It's
Just because
huge.
I
Sure.
was in a position where I was either on the same level as everybody around me or maybe a little bit ahead, or like I was always like kind of a self-starter. So I was always kind of like looking to the next thing to learn about. And with that, like being here, you're strapped for time because you have your customer calls and you've got also have
Yep.
your enablement. There's certain like certifications that you're advised to do, advised like on told to do and things like that. So the time aspect is definitely a struggle I still have. And you try to block out your calendar and you try to set time aside for
Good
admin
luck.
stuff. Yeah, most like my AEs are pretty good. They kind of respect. They'll ask sometimes, but for the most part, like people will just schedule over whatever you have in your calendar.
Yeah.
So being able to push back to, I think, is really something that I've learned really early in my first year. I've been like, respect my time. This is where I'm giving you availability, and this is where it's not, and that's the end of it. But yeah, time. And plus,
Yeah.
I
It's
also
a
have
good.
a child, a small child too. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a
I'm a
lot.
dad of two, and mind you, I don't, and I know you're mama bear, right? So you're definitely taking care of the
Mm.
kids more than I am. Hey, by the way, women, moms out there, y'all, we love you to death, right? If
Working
you don't get
moms,
enough,
yeah,
if you don't get enough, yeah, working moms especially, right? Like, I'm not trying to
yeah.
bail my wife out, but like, I do well enough so she can stay home, right? So like, it's good, but even then, it's exhausting, and I can just tell, and it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
more power to you. Love it. So you had right.
Thanks.
So this was your first. You've spoken like a true sales engineer. You're already in the game. I love it. Like, oh,
Of
people
course.
blocking your time. Like, oh yeah, the AE reaching out. Hey, by the way, I see you're building this project for someone
Yeah.
else. Can you just come up on this call for a half hour? I might need you for some
Yes.
technical validation. Yeah, I've been there. So that's your first SE role. That's stuff that makes you eye roll. But this, so you said first, so you broke into it. So I'd say you broke quote unquote into tech a little bit, but I'd say that happened
Mhm.
before Salesforce, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, so walking yeah, 10 years ago, right? So walking me through it, you did developer relations prior to Salesforce at,
Mhm.
Bitrise, and then you were at
Yes.
Compass, for a while, there.
Yes.
Compass
Almost a
from
decade.
2013 on yeah, a decade, which that's a
Yeah.
long time, man. I'm
Yeah.
still trying to hit more than 5 years at this point, so, like, maybe who knows? Maybe Salesforce is the place to do it. So what was it so you're a listings manager, QA engineer, and then you became an iOS developer. Walk us through the
Mhm.
path of breaking into tech, and what was it that forced you down that path?
Yeah. So I originally went to Compass as a real estate agent. I was working as a real estate agent for about a year in New York
Yep,
City, and they were this new tech company. It was like a mystery of what they were doing or whatever. Like it was a lot of speculation and stuff in the real estate community. But
sure.
I went there. I started working with. I started talking to the folks, and it's a startup, so they had seats to be filled. So they offered me several different positions, and I was like, this one has healthcare, and it's inside. And New York City in the summertime, it's disgusting. So I wanted to be inside.
Love that, like,
So
it's just a decent job. Give me
it had
that,
AC,
thanks,
so let's do it. I
appreciate it.
was in my 20s, like you're still trying to figure things out, right?
Yeah,
And
no
so
responsibility, that's great, love that, yeah.
yeah, no, like the biggest responsibility was like figuring out what Halloween costume I was wearing this year. Like that
Right,
was
like,
like
yeah, taking care of yourself, being an adult, okay, got it, yeah,
exactly. So
yeah.
I started working there. It was doing like mostly like data entry, without really knowing that it's data entry because this is the first
That was the
experience with
job you were
tech.
given, you didn't realize it's like, "Oh,
Yeah, I
open,
didn't
okay,
realize what it
got it,
really
yeah,
meant and what it was
of
really
course."
doing. There wasn't a lot of job clarity on a lot of stuff, but with that. it's a startup, they had seats to fill, lots of other positions as we started growing, as we started moving around, started opening up, and I would look around and see like, hey, this sounds like something I can do, let me try to fill it in. And that turned into
Sure.
being the listings manager, which is basically like making sure that the listings or the real estate information in our system was okay, was
That's
working and
called
showing
quality
us.
assurance, baby.
Yes,
Love it.
again, something I did not know was a thing that I
Right.
was
And how
doing.
would you? Because you're just told what to do. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Exactly. um so I started, I would eventually started moving up and I got promoted to managing that team. That team started growing and we were doing a lot more product testing because we were the ones teaching our agents how to use the tool, and we were also troubleshooting issues. And then on top of that, giving feedback to product around like the new
User
versions of it
stories
and
for
what have you.
testing.
All that stuff. Yeah,
So
bug
I'm just
tracking.
like looking at it. It's like it's people do all these things all the time and they just don't know where it fits. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah,
So anyway,
yeah.
continue.
And so, so I was managing the team, but I really wanted to break it up because some people that were great at customer or agent services
Hmm.
were great at that, and some people were really great with the product stuff. And so, like, to
Sure.
kind of like delineate the two teams, like they shouldn't be together. Looking back
No, they
at
have two
it,
different
but
roles and
yeah,
responsibilities. Yeah, like
exactly.
they should be communicating, sure, but
Oh
yeah, there's
yeah,
two
for
different roles.
sure.
Yeah.
But exactly. And so what kind of like pushed me more to work with the product and engineering team is I was up for it was the annual like bump in our pay or whatever. And I was talking to my
Okay.
manager. He was actually leaving at the time. And I told him, I was like, hey, I want to delineate and have a team specific for testing and move into product engineering. And I want to get more involved. And I do like I think he meant well, but he said something along the lines of I was becoming too much of a jack of all trades and that I should be focused on just the
Okay.
team that I was in and growing that. And it kind of felt like you should stay in your lane, which I kind of was just like,
Oh, dude, it's that's the chip
okay,
on my shoulder, man. That got me to where I was at
yeah.
too. That's the
How's
same
it?
line. Oh my god,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I didn't know
So
you told me something happened that was said to you, but I didn't know that was the line. I remember hearing
yeah,
that. It was 2016. I'll never forget
that it was
where
a
I
cold
was.
and rainy afternoon.
Dude, it was in a Bank of America freaking center with no windows at like 3:37
Oh
on like a
no.
I remember it to like the day. No, my it doesn't cause
Yeah,
me any trauma because I've gone from it. But yeah, that'll hit you for sure.
yeah,
So that was
yeah.
you were like, "No," right? I don't want to
I was like,
listen to that.
this doesn't sit well with me. Yeah, it's
Sure.
that just forced me now to kind of have like that energy in my back. And I started working more and more with product. I went to the CTO and I was just like, hey, this is my idea. Like, this is what I want to do. And he was like, that's great, but I'm also out the door. So like, best of luck. Here, I can help set you up. So it was like,
Man, startup
it
world, baby. That's
startups, yeah, there's just a lot of
crazy.
transitions.
Yeah,
So
man, for sure.
with that, yeah, I was able to kind of set up like a POV. I spoke with our COO and I was like, hey, this team is good on their own. They know what they're doing. I can move into QA. Then we also actually hired someone who did QA in the past. And
Sure.
they were looking
Okay.
to hire and build their team. And that's how I got into QA. So I was working QA. I started working at the mobile team. The mobile team was
Yeah.
strapped. They couldn't fix like small little bugs. So I would take the liberty of going through, walking through the code and giving them like the exact like line of
Yeah.
code that was causing the issue. And then one day a friend of mine was just like, do you want to know how to fix it? And I was like, sure. And that kind of spiraled into me fixing small
Just
bugs.
it's
It's
just
yeah, so
oh, go ahead.
it,
Sorry.
It 100% was I was very lucky. I was around people who were interested in
Yep.
helping and teaching, but then also, like, I like the saying of, like, "You don't have to be ready if you're always ready. You don't have to get ready if you're always ready."
Yes.
So I was
Sure.
constantly always kinda, like, in the mix of, like, learning what was going on and all the different changes that were happening. So it was very easy to translate information to me or help teach me something because I already kinda knew what was going on. So yeah, I started fixing small little bugs here and there, and that turned into me applying, like interviewing for the actual mobile dev position. And I was doing that, I think, for like three of my last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it was 2 years, 11
And
months.
then
Yep.
yeah, yeah, two. Wow, only two. Wow, it felt so much longer than that.
I
Uh,
so I felt at
so
UiPath, it was almost 5, yeah.
oh wow,
It was my, like, entire pre-sales career, essentially.
damn.
So I get it. That's so if I can summarize this, right
Yes.
place, right time, seeing opportunities, you were at a startup, so it was smaller, so there was ability to
Mhm,
thrive and ability to have an
mhm.
opportunity. You seem to have the wherewithal to understand that you've got to feature what you can do best, and that's provide not only a solution and an ROI tied to that solution. You use that as the point of view to talk to the executives. Are you understanding I'm talking about a sales cycle, right? And then from
Oh,
that, you
wow.
put yourself in the right? But like
Yeah,
though what you that's what you did. And that's how you were able to sell yourself enough because you
yeah,
were already doing the role. And something that I always try to educate on. I love your story because that's it, you had the grit. Like, it's just you had the grit and you were in the right time, and I wanna give you your flowers for
mhm.
that because I think a lot of people are missing the tangible piece, which was you got into the tech. You, like, learned how to
Yep,
apply
yep,
what you were doing to the ROI, and I think what happens is that we assume it's inherently understood. The value is inherently understood, but how you get there is not. And you
yes.
took it upon yourself and you went from, "Well, if we're gonna throw shit up on the website, we should probably make sure it's right."
Mm,
Right?
someone
That's
should, right?
validation checks. You right? Yeah, but from the
Yeah,
integration world, right? When we pull a piece of data, we got to validate that information, right? Then
absolutely.
from that, well, how
Yeah.
do I manage a team of that? How do I help people do a user story? That's the enablement
Mhm,
aspect of
mhm.
our role. So it seems like just based on that story, you were a sales engineer before you became one.
Yes and no. Like, I do feel like
Sure.
there are
Yeah.
still
Yeah. Go
other
through that a little
things.
bit because I'm summarizing, giving you flowers, but there's a disconnect there. So go through that. Yeah. Walk us through that.
Yeah, just because the idea of being able to sell yourself or sell what you can do to people, or not do to people, do for people,
Sure.
is it can be a bit, I think, easier in my opinion, at least, just because I know myself so well, and I've been
High
in
EQ. You have high
situations. Yeah,
EQ.
yeah,
Have
I
you heard
think
that?
so, for
Yeah, I
sure.
think you do. I'm
And
gonna just go out on a limb and say you do. Yes, like just talking to you, I think you have high EQ. So take it, run with it. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, so like I genuinely like I involve myself in that type of
Right.
that mentality. And so like I always kind of like look back at like what I'm doing and how I'm being approached and how I'm approaching
Yeah.
others. And with tech, with technology, like to me, you have to know the product, and to know the product, you have to know the
Bingo. Thank
faults and
you.
troubleshoot the issues,
Right.
and that's how you really know a product. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of like when I was QA, like I really honed that skill of like getting into
You
the
had
weeds
to.
of
You didn't have
things,
any other
and
choice.
you had to figure out the workarounds, you figure out the hacks,
Right.
like and you kind of just go from there. So yeah, so when it comes to selling products, I really do like to learn as much as I can to be very comfortable talking, because
Mhm.
if you're not confident in what you're talking about, no one's going to believe you.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and it goes against a little bit of the gray. I just completely agree with you because it's the advice I always give, and I've done this plenty of times on even the show, out in the comments, which you found me from, which we'll talk about here in a minute,
Yeah.
in terms of like how people start to enable themselves, right? But like I always say, I'm like, you wanna sell it, go learn it. Go learn how it
Hmm.
works, implement a project,
Hmm.
present it back to someone, put a video together of that because all of those
Yeah,
skills in terms of being able to synthesize information is ultimately what you end up doing unconsciously in the role. And you kind of have to, right? Which is why
absolutely.
you said
Yeah.
enough to be essentially you said in a polite way, enough to be dangerous, right? What does being
Yeah.
dangerous
Yeah.
mean? Well, someone's going to challenge you on something. Can you
Of
answer the
course.
question or can you at least
Yes.
effectively find the answer, right? And that comes
Hmm.
from an actual understanding of the tool. So like when people get certifications, right? Don't just take the exam, go through the modules they have with it,
Hmm.
right? Especially if they
Hmm.
have them. Like when
Yeah.
I got the AI cert, which that thing blew up on LinkedIn, by the way. Holy shit! Did you
Oh
see
yeah.
that?
No.
Dude,
Wait, what happened?
I posted I got the cert. I got like 190 reactions, like some crazy,
Really?
like
I
I'm so
didn't post
yeah, man,
mine.
like I'm some VP level stuff, right? It was great. But I brought that up, right? Because one Isabel told me to. She's a woman we work with, and
Oh,
but it was the reason I got that, and it was so easy was I went through the trailhead. I
yeah.
learned how
I
to
thought it
build
was
the
very
agent.
simple. I thought it
Yeah,
was a
like I
really
went through
easy task.
right, it's not right, people say we say it's simple, but of course we understand AI because we work with it all the time, right? But it's
Yeah.
that hands-on experience allowed me to not worry about the questions and answer the
Mhm.
question. I was more thinking like, okay, well, what part of this, like when it says like agent builder versus model builder, it's like, well, what am I doing? Am I
Yeah,
taking a data set? That's model builder. Am I building a chatbot? It's an
exactly.
agent, right? Like, but those
Mhm,
connections
mhm.
I would have maybe not gotten if I didn't, go through the special. That was an easy example, but you get the idea. And just
No, yeah, you're
driving that
actually yeah.
home is to me, I know I'm talking on my own show, but I don't care. Is because I wish
It's your
people would
show.
like yeah, right, exactly.
It's
But like
KJ's
what
corner, not the
yeah,
guest
it is.
corner.
Yeah, and if you know me, it's my damn corner. But like what you've done is you're like the epitome of the advice I always give to people is like just immerse yourself in the technology and figure out
Mhm,
how it would be better for your specific role and your specific function because that's sales
mhm.
engineering in its essence
Yeah,
and its core. And it's just it's such so cool to just see how your development was because there's really nothing more than you were confident in yourself, you put together the point of view, and you presented the
I
point of
just
view.
kept going,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was it, and because you knew the tech, so
Uh,
you could fall back.
another
Right.
another important thing I should say is also, like, not taking no as, like, an answer. It's just because
Sure.
that person's no, it's probably someone else's yes. So, like, my manager said that, "I don't think you should." Other people were telling me, "Mm, maybe not," but then I just kept asking, and whoever was saying yes, then I would start pouring in more into them and be like, "Okay, you said yes. Why do you say yes? And how else can I do this? And what else should I be doing?" So you kind of just take it that one day at a time and just keep going until you find yourself in a better place that you
Well,
enjoy.
Lily, you're doing what I do, and you're giving unsolicited advice to people while they're
I
watching
know.
it because you're a mom. No,
I
no,
give
I
too
do it
much
too. I do it
advice, I think.
all the day. No, 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 no. It's good. It's
People
good. And
hate
I
it.
want to. No, forget if people hate it because guess what? You're successful, right? People should listen to that, right? Like, hey, I'm giving you.
Thanks. I
Hey,
think so.
KJ's corner. You're gonna come out a little more arrogant because that's the whole point. Like, this is your show, but like but all of that said, I think people really appreciate getting to know you, whether it's professionally or personally, because I can tell you're genuine. I can tell you're sincere. I can tell you
Thank
care, and
you.
you're real. And you also I can just tell you probably don't put up with any bullshit, right? So
I try not
what
to.
was it? Yeah, try not to. Sometimes you have to in the corporate environment. We get that, but you don't get to your position without, a high EQ, and I think you would agree. What are the
Mhm.
things you did growing up that kind of shaped who you were? Do you think it was good parenting? Do you think it was a byproduct of your environment? Because like I would say, like for me, I channel a lot of what good wasn't like because I grew up in like the sticks, like small town.
Yeah.
My parents were going through a lot of shit when I was a kid. So the fact I got out, when I look at it objectively, it's kind of amazing. Um, What's the scenario for you? Without digging too deep, obviously, I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
steal your
Go
social
off in my
security number or anything.
business, right?
Right, yeah, exactly, but, like, what are the things, because I think
No, yeah, it's
sometimes we
important.
miss
It's important.
those skills that we learned. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Mhm. No, no, and it's kind of similar. I grew up in the projects of New York. Like it wasn't.
Okay,
My mom was a single mom. Parents were divorced.
sure.
So we moved around a lot growing up. I was up
Yeah, I
and
didn't
down
do
the
deal with
East
that. Okay,
Coast. Like
jeez, okay,
yeah. So a lot of I think a big strength that I have is my ability to adapt to new
okay.
situations and new people a lot because I had to move around. Like I was a new kid in class probably like 8 or 9 times in my life. So like it's tough doing that when you're in second grade, then third grade, then fifth
Oh
grade,
my
then sixth
I'm
grade,
trying to
then
even think what my son would do. He's only 2, and I'm like, "He
yeah.
would never be able to do that."
Please,
Like, that's
yeah. We mentioned to my 5-year-old we are going to a new school next year, and she was just like, "Wait, what? What are you talking?" I'm just like, "You'll get over it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah,
But,
yeah, "You'll get over it,
yeah.
you. I did it."
I know it's so hard. I try not to I really do try not to have that as, like, a parenting thing, but whatever,
It's so
that's
hard
besides
sometimes, and mind you, you're fine. I'm
the point.
only 2, like, it's so funny.
It's yeah, it's funny. But yeah, so like that adaptability I think helped prepare me a lot for life. Just
Okay,
because I find a lot of friends, personal friends that I have, they'll hit a roadblock or they'll hit what they have been told is the ceiling of what they're allowed to be doing and whatnot. And I'm always just like, that's stupid. No, you can do probably 10 times other things. Like, why don't you go this way? Like I'm always kind of like oh, there's a way we can move into this, or like I'm always trying to put the square peg in the round hole. Like I'm always trying to figure out a way.
sure.
And I think that kind of and as been saying, like the being able to move and work with other
Yeah.
people and other teams and other projects and being that confident, I think that adaptability that I got from
Sure,
being with a single mom and
sure.
moving around a ton and what have you, that kind of built that in me. And I don't take
Good.
people not being friendly with me too much to heart because I was always the new kid. So a lot of people were never friendly with me.
Right.
And I had a Southern accent when I was going to New York. I had a New York accent when I was in Florida. So
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
just
was always
adapt,
the
yeah.
outsider. Yeah.
It's like I look at, like, story like, I hear things like that, and I even think about, like, what happened to me, like, I had some pretty traumatic things happen, like, totaled the Jeep when I was, like, 17, and it's like, I don't wish trauma on people. I don't
No.
wish changing environments on people. But I will say that like anyone that I've seen is like, killing it in life, like objectively, they dealt with like
Mhm.
just a ton of adversity. So what I want to just make it on a happier note and round this out so that way we can get back to our lives on this lovely Friday. Because here in Charlotte, I don't know, it's only February as we're recording this, but it's 60 degrees out and it's beautiful right now. So I
Oh,
want to go
jealous.
take advantage of that. Yeah, dude, welcome to the South, homie. It's great. And it's a little cheaper in Delaware. So I digress.
Oh, yeah.
How would someone, and I think this will just be kind of tangible, and I'll let you be a mom a little bit because I think people would love. I would love to hear it. I'd love to hear you mom it up a little bit. Or what are some ways that people can give themselves a little bit of adversity? Obviously not doing that you're trying with. What would you suggest? And how would you apply that from a career perspective for up leveling? Because it
Mhm.
seems like you had it like within you and it was innate. But if you could break it down, what do you think that advice would be?
I think so the idea of being in adverse situations, right? Like, what is that really doing to someone? That's making them uncomfortable. And that
Yeah,
uncomfortable feeling can happen if you're in a super traumatic experience or if it's just like
sure.
the chair is wobbly and it's uncomfortable. So it does, I don't think the actual
Crazy
trauma
comparisons,
is
I've felt the same emotional visceral response about both of them.
so it's more to me, the wobbly table at restaurants will drive me insane. But yeah, I get it. But that uncomfortable feeling, the
Yeah,
being able to get used to that, I think can set you apart from most people.
yeah,
Because like I said, they'll hit a roadblock, they'll hit like whatever friction they might be getting, and then they stop. You have to be uncomfortable for just a little bit and to get through to the next side. So whether that uncomfortable feeling is just like reaching out to someone that you don't know, just to ask them what they do for their
okay,
job, or stepping up and saying like, "Hey, I want to lead this project," without having really any history of doing something like that. Having that ability to be okay with being uncomfortable, I think, is probably the best thing that someone can do when they're looking to make
I love it.
changes and grow and stuff like that. Yeah,
Ugh.
and that kind of blankets it all. Like, I don't want people to go through trauma, like you said, but like just
Right,
being
yeah.
able to deal with being uncomfortable, I think that will set people apart for sure.
We're
Yeah.
ending on that. That right there, if I was, all I know is just it's just so refreshing that, someone like yourself is, I'm sure you're taken care of by the company and you're able to, you're probably providing some odds for your kid, right? And it's
Oh yeah.
knowing that someone like you is going to be, quote unquote indoctrinating a little bit, right? On the side with what's going on is it's just a good thing because I think being
Mhm.
able to lead with empathy and understand those situations and not take things personally is what separates people apart. And
Oh yeah.
if children are around that, right? Because I can even tell when we put on damn spastic TV shows, my toddler's going absolutely off the wall. Then we put Dragon
Uh,
Tales on, and he's happy as a clam. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's just byproducts of our own environment. And really, what you're saying is, if the environment's not working, change the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, and if you want to change, then just try. That's all you have to do is try it. Because the whole
easier said than
situation might
done,
not
but
change. I
yeah,
know, but I said like the whole situation might not change, but one
right,
little aspect of it, or even just your
yeah,
mentality around the situation might change.
yeah,
So it's worth it, I think, at the end of the day. It's your own happiness, right? So
yeah, for
no one
sure.
else is gonna
I've
care
always
about
told.
it.
Right, and it's so funny, and we'll round this out so people can connect with you at some point, but it ties back to, like, even when I said it, like, my own wedding, and, like, it sounded funny at the time, but I was like, "You have to love yourself first. You have to,
Oh
because there's
yeah,
no possible
absolutely.
way that you can share yourself, especially emotionally, with anyone,"
Hmm.
right? And that
Hmm.
was definitely true when we had our babies. Oh my god, dude, your emotions go through the
Yeah.
roof, right? And it's all hormonal, right? It's not anything it's
Hmm.
just how do you deal with that? Well, you gotta have high EQ. You gotta be able to deal with that. You gotta know that your guys might feel like roommates for a little bit, and
Oh
these
yeah.
these things happen. But it's once
Roommates, you
it's the
might feel like you want to
adversity.
kill each other.
Oh my god, dude, the amount of combos we had sometimes where like she'd be
Yeah,
saying,
but that's
she's like, I feel like we're losing each other. I'm like, babe, you're breastfeeding Marlena. She's not letting you go, homie. Like, what am I
oh
supposed to do? Like, it's
yeah,
but
yeah,
those are once again, adversity. Like, how do you deal with that? And if I
being
was stressed
uncomfortable.
in my situation and whatever, like, it wouldn't be conducive. So,
Hmm.
I love it, Leila. Thank you so much for
Yes, thank
just walking us
you.
through your journey. If people wanted to connect with you or Google you, so to speak, like you did to me, and how we ended up setting up this whole thing to begin with, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Just kind of
So she's Leilah
stalker.
Squires. Yeah, right. Stalking everything. Facebook. What did he look like back in 2012? You know what I mean? Like, what was he
Honestly, it's
doing? Like,
so bad. It's so bad. I've gotten in so much trouble with it. Like, if to what ended on a funny story, I can
yeah,
tell a
go ahead.
story
Yeah,
about.
of course. Yeah, rip.
So really quick, I was in college, and me and my friends, like the one of the Divine Nine Greeks were coming onto campus, and it
Okay.
was like we didn't have that representation at all. So we were like, oh, the alphas and the omegas, or whatever, they were coming, and so we just looked up on Facebook. And this is at the time when Facebook, like, you only could be a college student to have Facebook. That's how old I
Right. Yeah. Before
am.
it. Yeah, it opened up. Yes, correct.
Before it kind of blew up. Yeah,
I love how
and
people
so
clarify that, and then you age yourself in the process. Like,
it's honest, but like I think it's important to understand.
it
But
is. It is. It definitely is. Yes. Yes.
I looked up the three of the guys, and we were just like, all right, that one's cute, that one's cute, that one's cute. All right, so now we know
Yeah.
their
Hot or
names,
not.
we
That's
know
what it
what they
started
like,
as.
whatever,
Yeah. Like.
just whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the guys had a picture of like his back tattoo, and he had this huge back tattoo. And I love tattoos. I have several for myself.
Yep. I got one on my
And
shoulder. Yep.
in conversation later on that night, because now we have met them, we're hanging out with them, we're back in the dorms, we're chilling, like everything's
You
cool.
brought it up, you
I
idiot. Oh my god, that's so funny.
I literally said, like, someone mentioned tattoos, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, X, you have. I like your back." He was just like, "What?" I was just like, yeah." They said that
Oh,
someone. I said,
how do
blamed
you
one of
know
the other
that?
guys. I blamed one of the other guys, and I said that, "Oh yeah, such and such said that you had a tattoo. I'd like to see
So
it."
funny.
Yeah, but yeah, it
Yeah.
was 100% a complete slip up, and I'm now much more careful about
Well,
my
I'm
googling, or
sure
I'll
there
just tell
were.
people upfront until, like I said to you, I googled
Right.
you.
Right. Like, oh yeah, because you said flat out, like, I Googled you. I see this article. I love it. Let's chat. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would probably argue if you were in college, libations were had.
Oh yeah,
And at that point you
flip of the
yeah.
tongue.
So yeah.
Yeah.
You think I didn't say nonsensical things in college? Yeah, right. I still do. Come on. Like my
Yeah,
pieces of
true,
feedback sometimes
true.
are like, say less. Don't be dumb. Like, all right, got it. I can totally
Oh
relate.
god.
That's a funny story. Anyway,
Yeah.
so if people want to connect with you on LinkedIn, they
Yes.
feel free to do so. Awesome. The link will
Yes,
be
please do. Leilah
yes.
Squires. Yeah.
Yep. Links in the description. Otherwise, are there any other things you want to plug here before I round us out and close us out?
No, just I really enjoy talking about this
No.
stuff and how I grow my career, and any chance I get that if I speak to, and it's mostly I tend to speak with other, like, women of color, but if there are like
Mhm.
stipulations or things that are going on, I'm more than happy to help talk through whatever things that people are going through to help them get to the next level. So feel free to please reach out to me, be proactive, be curious, and yeah, just don't be stagnant. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Leilah, for the time.
Yes, thank
And
you
with
too.
that, I think I'll round us. Oh, no problem. No problem. I'll round us out. Once again, this is KJ's Corner, where I formalize what would be otherwise informal conversations. I think we had a good time here, Leilah. I think you would agree, even if you're not going to tell me on this right now. Tune in next time. Not sure when I'll record again, but I try to hit this as monthly as much as possible. If you got anything out of it, please let me know if you did. If you didn't like it, all right, cool. Well, I don't really care because I'm going to keep posting stuff
Yeah,
and doing my thing because it's KJ's Corner. I do what I want.
exactly.
So cool. Thank you again, Leilah, and we'll see you
Yes,
guys
thank
next
you
time. Cheers,
again.
guys.
Bye.